It looks like we are live, or at least I'm live with one of my favorite musicians. There's going to be many compliments to come, but Dennis Hill is a very hard person to describe because if I just say Dennis Hill from Face to Face, that's like 0.1% of the damn story. What's the correct way to even introduce you, Dennis Hill?
George's son. I don't know.
Because like if we say Dennis Hill from Face to Face, that's like such a small percentage. That's like 20 years into the story. That's not talking about the Poor Boys or Lit or the stuff you produced or the documentary stuff. That's not talking about Lefty. That's not talking about Phoenix TX. That's not talking about Sammy Hagar cutting one of your songs. When you do the Dennis Hill parentheses, does Hagar like the eighth name that's in the parentheses?
I have no idea what comes up with that. You know, we're doing sports songs. You know, you and I have talked about this, about the second act and all that. And so like at one point we were working with these people out of Milwaukee and like doing like sports things, you know what I mean, for NFL and like you know, like college football teams, everything like that. And Sammy had we had taken an old Lefty song, made a football chorus out of it. These are things you do well after your like artist integrity kind of vibe. And we did that. And then Sammy sang it. And then he made a record a few years later and then recut it entirely with Kid Rock and Joe Satriani on it. And it's like one of these things, y'all, okay, that's cool. The rent's paid, I guess.
Yeah, I've interviewed people where like Sammy Hagar was the second name in the parentheses, but in your case, it's like the eighth name. It goes Dennis Hill parentheses Face to Face, then comma. Do we do the project because the project is the newest thing?
Project's newer. Michael Hill's newer.
Yeah, your daughters who we're talking about right there. So your daughter gets the third name in the parentheses.
She should actually be first now,
first
or whatever. Like that's what we're trying to finish up at that and the project. The project's pretty much done, but we just kind of refired up again with Eric. Do you know Eric Ferentinos, by the way?
I don't know him. I know he plays with Stephen Piercy from Rat.
Yes, great dude, great musician, sweet dude, and he played some guitar solos mostly. We added some other components when we were completing the record initially with the project. And then just on Friday, we did a couple songs. He wrote one, Jimmy and I wrote one, and we just started doing this again. So that's still going, even though the record's technically done and supposed to come out in February.
So the lineup of the project has you. I saw the promo photo had Eric. I know the promo photo had Kevin Baldus from Lit. Who else is in the project?
It's really weird, right? Because it's called a project because it was, I've known Jimmy since we were kids in high school and we were always in the other bands kind of vibe. And just he always was a sweet dude. My buddy Andre said, hey, Jimmy wants to start writing again. Andre was in the Poor Boys with me and he works with Jimmy. He's like, Jimmy wants to start writing again. And it's like, oh, okay. So Andre, you know, brought Jimmy over to a Pump 5. It's another band I work with time to time. Boomer, you're already starting. and so Steve Barnett, Jimmy and I wrote a couple songs. Boom, that started the project. And but it is a project. It's like Jimmy Deanda came and played on songs. Oh my gosh, Aaron Rossi.
That's Jimmy Deanda from the Bullet Boys.
Guys, come on. Yeah, Jimmy Deanda, Bullet Boys, and George. You know, Jimmy's everywhere, songwriter and everything too. Kevin played. Ferentino's played. Jimmy, I played. Aaron Rossi was a great addition. You know, former Upland kid, moved to the Pacific Northwest. Sadly, passed away. Played on a couple songs. Fury on drums. And I wanted more singers. Jeff Plant has been Jimmy's partner in the early days, and he did great. But and then Steve Barnett saying, but I wanted more singers. I ended up singing one. Nobody wants to hear that. But it's like we wanted more singers. Like I wish I could get John Waite. John Waite, please. You know what I mean? There's so many different singers to get. I would love to have way more female singers on it. Dale Bozio. I would love Dale Bozio to sing a song. It's a wish list. I don't know if I'm at that marker, right? I don't know.
Well, what I'm hearing is the project is still in progress, even though there's a record cut. The lineup is not defined; it's not finalized. Going back to the bullet points there. You know, Face to Face has you memorizing how to play 3 albums in 3 nights regularly. So for most people, that's enough mental real estate taken up. But there's that. There's the project. There's your daughter. Does she have an album cut, or is that still being finalized?
Yep. So she's, final stages. I think all the music part is pretty much done.
Yeah.
She's finishing up some vocals, and then I don't mix. I'm horrible. And that'll go up to Kyle Hame, who will mix it. And he has been mixing it. So she's almost done. What else we got? Good Man Down is, for the most part, it's me with like some of the guys from the band are doing a show in December. Face has.
I know Face to Face is going to be at the Stanley Hotel doing like the 3 albums in 3 nights thing. Yep. Do you call that the Triple Crown?
Yeah, they call that the Triple Crown. And it wouldn't be so bad if we did it more consistently, but you literally, a lot of those, Reba, come here. A lot of those songs are in the set normally, but the ones that aren't. So you usually end up with like, I don't know, out of the 3 albums, you kind of end up with like, I don't know, maybe 15 that you got to go back and revisit. And then you play others, right? You don't just do the album, you play that, and then you play a whole other set. It's super fun. And we had done this Stanley one. It's super cool, right? This is where Stephen King incepts The Shining, right? Or conceives, whatever.
That's the real Stephen King Shining. There's 2 other hotels I'm aware of that claim that they're the Shining Hotel. I stayed at one of them in Canada. They're definitely not that hotel because Stephen King did not stay there as a child. So you're at the real deal, real Shining one.
It's story goes, he, his wife, and I think child at that time were doing, it was a late and fall kind of vibe. Up there when you go to Estes Park, I don't know if there's normally a through road or not, but they had to circle back down go back down the hill towards Loveland, which ultimately, Denver area. And a storm hit. And so the hotel was closing, and it's just as the book and movie go, caretaker, they stay, weird stuff happens that happen, the book is created out of that. And I think somewhere in Oregon might have been the setting for some of the exteriors for that. Something like that. Yeah, the Stanley's at. And it's all fun. Like there's some seances, there's all kinds of tours. It's a fun, we did it last time. It was really cool. And the wives come and everything. It's kind of rad.
Less driving to do because the hotel is the venue, so load-in is easier and etc. So
it wasn't though, because a storm hit while we were doing it, so it was super icy loading and all that stuff. It had all the elements of what made it super rad.
Well, rewinding
dog inside.
Rewinding 2.5 decades. One of the reasons I want to talk with you, and one of the reasons you intrigue me, is you're one of those guys who there's like 5 different kind of chapters to where their career is, and you've had now like 3 major label deals or 2, like because there's Poor Boys, Lefty. Was there another record deal that I'm forgetting about?
Those were bands that I fronted, and then I was in other bands that had their own deals.
Phoenix TX. You had your time with Lit, who you're still pals with, and that's how I know you, etc. But a lot of those people who lost the first deal went and went, okay, I'm done, career's over. And like those 30-ish years later, you're not slowing down, you're still at it. In other words, how'd you know not to quit the first time you got dropped?
Yeah, I get you're bitten by then, right? Like, because I'd given myself like a self-imposed deadline for something to happen. Stupid shit that we do when we're young. But So when we did get dropped off of, that would be Hollywood, we were jamming around, and so, but you're still meeting people, right? So now you get to do other things. So that had kind of started right there. But then I had another band called Gorgeous that was simultaneous, that was just after that. And so we weren't on a label or anything like that, but we were going to Germany and doing tours like that, with self-released records, and just moving and shaking with some of my best buds, and that was a singer, from one of the biggest LA bands, Liquid Jesus. This singer was like a great singer, but there was problems with people living in LA, so we kind of just brought it back out here in this area, which is 30 miles east of LA, and kind of had this like local group. So we toured, did all that shit. And then at the same time, some of my poppier songs that I was writing, they weren't interested in, and that became Lefties. So I was kind of doing that and that at the same time.
Got it. Okay. So one of the things I saw was a lot of the bands who were at like the tail end of the hair band LA scene, kind of, there was 5-6 years where nothing happened, and then they got signed again, and they pretended like they were never a Sunset Strip band ever. Lit would be one of those bands with Razzle, and
it wears it. They're like, oh nope, we love that stuff. And
okay, well, Marvelous 3 were hiding that they were South Gang for a long time. They were kind of denying that one. And
tells the story so damn good though, and really, oh my god, anything I went through, they topple it. That whole shit of in China and everything. I love Butch. I love him.
Well, what about I know that you know those guys, but what about the band Lost Kittens with a Z?
What about them? Those guys are fantastic. You got Luke Tierney, you got little baby Chrissy. I love those kids. Marco, love those.
And was that Steve from Nerf Herder also was in that one?
I think so. Right. There's iterations of all these bands, because I think even Scott Shiflett probably comes in and plays bass at some point in Kittens. But they were rad. They were just like super fans of everything. Motley Crue and all that kind of stuff, Hanoi Rocks and all that. And I love those guys. They're rad.
Well, so all those groups, they were Sunset Strip guys who could play a lot of notes. And then one day they had to kind of hide that, go a little alternative. Then they came back as power pop versions of themselves. And then they got signed again. SR-71, that was another one of those where I think they were Honor Among Thieves.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if did anybody hide it though? I don't know if it was like, oh shit, don't talk about it kind of vibe. I don't know, because even people who've, I don't know if Poor Boys was ever Sunset Strip, but I did play in Damn Yankees, not that one. And we were kind of out there at the tail end. They had been in there early on with all that stuff. But I mean, it was a different band. This guy, Mike Lay, who was a fantastic songwriter, actually. But yeah, I think even the bands that were out there, I mean, Junkyard was out there on the Sunset Strip, Later Days kind of vibe, but they were kick-ass.
Okay, well, let me give you one where they did deny it. You remember when Bang Tango became Beautiful Creatures?
Okay, copy. Yeah, okay. There you go. That's
Buck Cherry was not happy to talk about being, I forget what Josh Todd's band was before Buck Cherry, Slamhound, I think it was.
I don't know. Later model dude was in Funhouse. But yeah, I mean, we were all out there. It was such a damn fun time. You know what I mean? But I think the Poor Boys thing, we never really fit in that. That's later model. We're way later than even Lit and all that stuff. Because we're pretty much, we start out acoustically, Madam Wong's West.
Wow.
And then we start doing 8121, which is downstairs from Coconut Teaser. And then when we become a band, we just start doing the Coconut Teaser on Sunday nights with band like Wallflowers, Leaving Trains, and things like that. So it's a little bit later model. But yeah, like that, I guess that is sort of passing because there's always been great Americana and whatever you want to call it, great rock and roll in LA too, right?
Sure.
So I don't, sorry, I get ADD is a gift. I'm not trying to get off of anything, but like, as far as like Sunset Strip, that was a fun time, man. All that's Friday and Saturday nights, Sunday down on Melrose. That was good times, you know.
With the Wallflowers, didn't they start out in the Kibitz room?
Not real sure, but they, damn it. What a dummy. The Deli, the Thursday nights.
Oh yeah, the Campers.
100%. All that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was really cool, right? Because you graduate up to the weekend, and even still on the weekend, that the other stuff has happened over there on the West End. It's great.
Well,
Yeah.
what blows my mind is when, and this is going to come back to Dennis Hill, but when you think about the musicians who knew each other and played each other, but we never think of together. Like, I remember when I was interviewing Jason Sheff, who was in Chicago for like 30 years. He was the young guy replacing Cetera, and then he left in his 50s. But he came out of the same scene as Piercy and Rat of San Diego. And you would never in a million years think of those guys knowing each other. And like, I think the Wallflowers and Warrant kind of came out of the same scene to some extent.
I think everybody's passing each other by for sure.
So where this ties in with Dennis Hill is the people who know you from Face to Face know you for the punk stuff. The people who know you from the Poor Boys know you like the more Americana, classic rock, not classic rock radio, but classic rock kind of way. And at the same time, I get the vibes that you grew up like a Van Halen, Rat, Whitesnake guy, but at the same time, a punk rock guy. You're not very easy to define with all the scenes.
No, and maybe to my chagrin or whatever you want to call this, is that I've never just went, I am this or I am that. I'm a rock kid, 100%. Right, like Face to Face. I think they still think I'm Chad Yarrow, which is great. That's how I got the gig. It's the best story ever, you know, and that's fine. But it's pretty obvious that you Face to Face to me is they're a punk rock band, I suppose. But I hear all the '80s influences even more than that. I hear a lot of Smiths and Cure, even when they can't. I do. In
the later stuff, I'll give it to you. On Don't Turn Away, I don't hear any of that. But on the self-titled Going Forward, I hear a lot of that.
Maybe, but even in those things, I'm all, well, the bing bang, those little, all those things that are.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still like, okay, that, maybe it's the NoFX. I don't know. But I'm like, okay. I identified with it. I was like, okay, they seem less NoFX and more derivative of that. And then just like kind of having talked to them, yeah, we were this or we were that. But, and then me growing up, obviously Randy and everybody, I love DeMartini. I love all these guys. There's so many great players. So I did fall into that, but I didn't, dude, just as much as I was lit, that was happening. I'm still over there, whatever, listening to Tintin or something like this, whatever kind of different weird 80s things. Duran Duran, I don't even care. I just love, if it's a good song, I dig it. Love Culture Club, love all this stuff, love Tears for Fears. Like, this stuff matters to me still, and now even more, right? I started out, my whole shit starts with Neil Diamond, and still, my mom was a big fan. We went down to San Diego on a rainy night. All kind of shit happened where we almost didn't make it, and we got to this show way up in the nosebleeds. And I tell the story because it's so damn important. You may not know if you're a Neil Diamond fan, but you will be if you go to a show. You can't. But was there, little kid, ran down to the band, to the banister thing or whatever end of it. And Neil pointed, and wherever Neil points, the light hits. Koosh, that thing hit, and I went, fuck yeah, I want to do that. And it was it. And I just and songwriter, everything about Neil Diamond still holds up. And that was my first, learn Neil songs. And, the Beatles and everybody. Revolver I would listen to as my parents' album. I would go lay down, set up take the couch cushions, put it down below the record player, and put on Revolver. and then do side one again, and side, then flip it, side, bam, bam, bam. All that. Same with all those records that your parents have. You know what I mean? Let It Bleed with Stones and all that. Bam, bam, bam. That's the early stuff. But man, if I bought Out of the Cellar, I bought Rio, whatever. I love it. I love it all.
So you were a Charvel guy, but at the same time, your influences are way before Charvel. That's what I'm hearing.
No, Charvel's right here. San Dimas, it was, right there. And I had friends that worked there. We used to be able to go get shitty seconds necks and throw them on there. But, for every Charvel, I had a Les Paul, whatever.
Wait, so I didn't know that about you. So there was a documentary called The Original Charvel Gang. Yep. So you know those people.
No, some of those people, my buddy Nick Licata, Sean worked there. There was a bunch of people from just right here. Next town over. And so, yeah. And dude, we got to, so we were over there with Nicky Licata one night. We were going to get some necks. And Alan Holdsworth used to practice in the warehouse, dude. And we're going there. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? This is like, like you're like a little fly on the wall. It's the Forrest Gump moments that will keep you coming back to rock and roll. And so, yeah, we got to just chill, and he was sweet. Got to meet him, and it was just, yeah. I didn't never really know Grover or anything like that, but yeah, our buddies worked there, and we got to get some spare parts, and I'm sure somewhere there's some cool ass pictures of me with Charvels.
There was a Spacey T from Fishbone was in that documentary. That's the person you know as well?
No, do not know Spacey, but know of, yeah.
So where I'm going with this, I didn't realize, and I was texting you this the other day, you produced some albums for people who I've been friendly with, and I had no idea you knew those people, like Allister. You did the album before Allister became a Fluke success in Japan. How did that one happen? Did you just know those guys, or did the label go, yeah, this is Dennis, he'll do it?
No, that would have been... So Kyle Hame, who longtime collaborator, producer, mixer, engineer, I think he had a manager at that point, this guy Charlie, and the drive-through people, and Charlie had some kind of relationship. I don't really know how that came about, but the album was called Before the Blackout, and we met, and they were rad, did little pre-production on the demos, like a day long, and did the record. No, what was the Fluke album that was a success in Japan?
So the album after that, they were going to be touring Japan for, I'm making this as concise as I can. Okay. This Japanese band, their name is escaping me right now. They're massive in Japan, but didn't really make it here. And the singer was this big fan of Allister and went, yeah, we'll take them on tour. But you know how when you tour Japan, you usually just play like 2 or 3 shows and then you go home. It's like Tokyo, Osaka, maybe Nagoya, go home. This was one of those, like, you're going to play every town possible. So they gave Allister like 2 to 3 months of dates. So I think they were talking amongst themselves and went, we should have something to sell just in case. So they made this EP over the course of a couple of days. And I think it was like 5 or 6 covers of just like 80 songs. To Be With You by Mr. Big, Heaven Is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle, and 1 or 2 songs in Japanese, which Scotty sang, and because he was learning Japanese. Yeah. And this thing turned out to be massive to the point that it sold hundreds of thousands of copies in Japan, but they never told Drive-Thru Records that they made it or were doing it. So I remember there was some complex thing where the royalties had to go into escrow and people were debating who owned it and stuff like that. But it was so big and being bought by people who didn't like American music necessarily. It was sold in this store called Village Vanguard, like this mainstream store. It would just sell one album, and it was this Allister album called Guilty Pleasures. That became so big that Scott Murphy, they were like, oh, this guy who speaks Japanese, he basically moved there. He became a Universal Japan artist. Rivers from Weezer had a band with him just for Japan called Scott and Rivers. And this all totally went under the radar of like Allister fans and American fans.
Dude, so and even when we were doing Before the Blackout, Scott, he would speak Japanese, and like we'd go get like sushi or whatever, and he'd be talking to the girls. Love the Japanese girls, and yeah. So
allegedly, in case he did, and we're protecting ourselves illegally. If he didn't love Japanese girls, we don't know.
We have no idea. But,
we don't know.
But then I did run into him over there, and I saw him. He was like super big star. He was like playing. I think he was doing some of his own solo stuff and playing in another band or something like that. Or something crazy.
Yeah, he was doing like follow-up versions of covers in Japanese of Japanese songs. He was doing it before Me First and the Gimme Gimmes did their Japanese LP, if you remember that.
Yeah.
So Allister started that whole trend weirdly, and no one knew it was Allister.
I heard Tim's new project a few months ago. Super good. Just great. It was really fun and really fast with that band. And both dudes had their own, right? Bam. It's like that. He sings that, he sings that. I guess it would be like a Blink or something where you got the two singers or whatever. But it was just really fun and fast. I didn't realize they had that big of a success after. I wish it would have been before the blackout. It'd be cool to get royalties on something like that. Yeah, awesome.
Were you also the producer around that time? Allister was also in this movie called like Sleepover or something like that, and they had to record a track for a soundtrack. And I remember hearing that story, but if you're not sure, then the answer is no.
I wouldn't know. It wasn't something that happened during that recording time, for sure. I remember I did score the first single off of that album because it was so weird. They had this chorus that Drive Thru was super into, and then they weren't, whatever. But I was like, no, that chorus is rad. So I came home after the day of pre-production, the day we were starting to record, and I just took their chorus and then wrote around it, blah, blah, blah. Then kind of had tempt in a vocal melodies or whatever happens. And then we finished it, and it ended up being the first single. And it was really weird. It's like that classic record company thing where they're all, why didn't we hear this song before? And you're all, it was your first song that you probably gave the green light to the album on or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it came out, you always wish it sounded more a bit. That was a fun record. And then Charlie there was a few things from that connection with Charlie and maybe Drive Thru or whatever. There was Fire Escape, which was the guitar player. I forget what band that he was in. And then what band was that? And then the ones that you hit me up and reminded me of with
Suburban Legends.
Yeah, Suburban Legends, Clem and them. That was super fun too, but like crazy talented musicians.
Who could dance while doing it. That's
super good.
That band was the total package. And being an East Coaster, I never saw this, but I remember hearing their day job for a while was playing Disneyland every single night.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Disneyland or if it was wherever House of Blues and all that was. I think it was something like that, like where all the shopping, like the walk lots kind of vibe. And I think they used to play down there. Maybe it was Disneyland, but yeah, they were honed for sure.
So where I was going with that is I was trying to figure out if anyone besides Suburban Legends and Josh Freese ever had that Disneyland gig. But if they didn't have the Disneyland gig, question stricken from the record.
Well, hired by Disney, right? But I know my buddies, the Rumble Kings, who kind of were like a 40s, 50s kind of band used to have that gig.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things, as long as it's got something fun going on and people are cruising, right? It makes sense.
So one thing I'm confused about from your credits, and I'm trying to figure out if this is a different Dennis Hill, not the English footballer Dennis Hill, but when I go through your credits, there's artwork that you did for Amy Grant, or is that a different Dennis Hill?
Amy and I are great friends. I love and respect her so much. And
that's real?
I started graphic arts very early, the age 7. No, it's not me. Dude, no, I see that shit too. I'm like, but there's some cool shit that dude did. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm glad this
You,
is on here.
you never know with an Amy Grant, like what the connection could have been, because Good Man Down, didn't you do some stuff in Nashville?
Yeah, we would go out there.
Yeah.
We're
So
going
Amy
there.
Grant's a Nashville person, so I thought it was technically possible.
Who did I just see? Shit, was it from Amy Grant? Was it Owsley? Did Owsley play guitar for Amy Grant?
Owsley did play guitar for Amy Grant. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So and then that dude, yikes. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's a tragic ending to one of the most talented people possible.
Fucking mind blowing. To me, so funny. Jason Freese showed Scott Shiflett Owsley because he's playing keyboards on Scott's record right now, solo record.
Scott Shiflett's making a solo record, really?
Yeah, he's making a solo record. It's very throwback. You know, Scott. He's Beatles. It's somewhere like his well runs deep, but it's a very, very cool album. And so he's been having me down there like, not really producing, just kind of hanging out. Like, it'd be a cool guitar sound for that. Whatever, we're doing that. But Jay's playing some keys on it right now. And Jay said, hey, a lot of this, because you got the Beatles Badfinger and all these things. And obviously I'm there. So I'm like, oh, you know what Jellyfish would do. But anyway, it's all the same shit. But Jay showed that. And then we were going down. I was like, I remember this dude. And he was such a damn talent. But it really does remind me of the side of me that I love, like the Costello Joe Jackson kind of fucking shit. And it just sounds so good. I think he's engineered, produced, and did all that. And it is a sad end. But there you go. Somehow from a graphic arts guy to Amy Grant to Owsley to right now is
you being a Nashville guy on occasion. That's how that happened.
It was way more early on, even before Good Man Down. I was going down there with Jeremy Popoff because we'd done demos, and then Good Man Down was hot on the heels of that. But I loved going down there, and I loved sitting in a room watching people, more demo cuts. We were doing demo cuts, but I loved just seeing something like, there you go. That's how the song sounds in 1/2 hour, maybe 3 times too, through it. And I was just like, I was taken aback by it, and I still am so humbled. And I don't think I'd ever go down there and play in a session. Everybody always tries to tell me, everybody who lives down there now goes, dude, you should come do it. And I'm all, I see the people doing it, and I ain't.
Yeah, I hear mixed things about rock people going to Nashville. Now, you said Jeremy Popoff from Lit, who you did a tour or two with, some production work with, and Lit is in the parentheses of the title of this interview. I think I have him as the 5th name in there. Nothing but respect to Lit. But I was thinking about it. Nowadays, all the 80s metal guys and all the like classic rockers have moved to Nashville or Vegas. But was Lit the first group that like half of them moved to Vegas? Or I'm sorry, half of them moved to Nashville, rather?
Oh, I don't know timeline. Jer went first, and then Age, and but like Trevor went down there. Trevor went down there immediately when I started playing with Face to Face. He's moved around. He's always had Nashville, did a Vegas, but Trevor went down there. I want to say 9 or 10 down there. It's right around the same time they go down there, and a lot of people went down there.
Even Vince Neil.
Yeah, Vince Neil, right? Chris Carrabba went down there.
Winger, everybody is down there now.
Jonathan Cain, all them kind of cats. There's so much. I mean, Brian Cook went there a long time ago or whatever, but there's so many damn rockers down there, and there's so many alternative people down there too. And it really is a rich scene, and it has a lot of regions to it now, even in that little area, and it's so cool. And I mean, if you listen to country and you really kind of go into all the alcoves of country, which are so huge now, and I think you directly attribute that to all the people from everywhere who either come down there or like to work down there, because working down there is fantastic. There's great gear, there's great engineers, there's great players, and
no state income tax.
There you go. Boom. Julian Raymond moved down there. Come on. There you go. Boom.
Well, bringing it all to you, you're still an Orange County guy all these years later.
No,
What is it?
I Orange County. I did a decade down there, and then now I'm back here. I guess we're the second to the last town in Los Angeles County.
Oh,
So,
okay. We're not doxing you. We're not asking you to name towns. I pegged you as an Orange County guy.
To come on over, you can hear us from the 10 freeway.
Well, what is it that keeps you out there? Because, if you go back 15 years ago when still record deals and development deals were happening, Hollywood was still the epicenter of the music industry and sessions and all that. And everything obviously became remote over COVID. And even before that, things were pivoting towards Georgia and Nashville and maybe even New Orleans, North Carolina. What is it that keeps you a West Coaster?
Weather. The weather. I love the weather here, and I live below these mountains, and it's awesome. And friends, I got friends everywhere, but I get to travel from my jobs. So I do get to run across, not as much as I would like to. And I haven't been going down to Nashville as much as I should. But there is something about California, I'm either up there or I did not surf at all last year. But when I do, it's a half hour away. And so there's still those kind of things about this California lifestyle that I do love a lot. And we have great Mexican food here where I live. And I love Mexican food. And yeah, I don't know. A lot of culture, a lot of everything here that I do dig. But
probably the band, The Project, wouldn't have happened if you weren't in this area, correct?
Like you said, remote. You could do that because we did go down to Dave Iversh's studio to cut some drums. Not all of them. Nowadays, you do it everywhere. Nathan Walker. Shit, I forgot his name on the project. He played half the drums on the record, and he used to be in Lit. And he has a company called Get Off My Case with Ed Udis from.
Who's Ed Udis? That name I don't know. I swear to you, why? I'm ignorant here. Tell me who Ed Udis is.
Ed Udis is an Orange County staple. Come on. No, Jesus.
I'm gonna have to look into his whole discography, but if you say Ed's in rock, I go, okay, Ed Stasium, Ed Kowalczyk, Ed Hardcourt, Ed Van Halen.
Yes, Ed is among them.
Ed Vedder.
He's the drummer for Zebrahead. So, great storied career, right? Because now they do most of their work outside the States, though they're currently starting to work more in the States. Dude.
Is that who the Ed that I just couldn't name, is that who that is? The guy from Zebrahead?
Nathan have Get Off My Case. And Nathan is another contributor to the project. He's also the drummer of Michael Hill. So it's all these people, right? So I guess we could have done the project from anywhere, but it was cool to go, all right, Jimmy Deanda, you're going to do a couple songs. And same with Rossi. We're going to go down here to Orange County and then cut tracks there. Our buddy has a great studio there. And then, we bring some of them back to this fine establishment.
Well, so Ed really is the guy from Zebrahead?
Yeah, he's a drummer, Zebrahead.
Okay. We need to talk about that one for a second. Because do you know how big Zebrahead is in Japan?
Well, I know you're right. They've had their great, that market was super good. The European market has been super good. I don't know. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I never really go like, "Hey, what's the money looking like over there?"
Zebrahead was so big in Japan that a lot of their albums were direct Sony Japan or major label deals. So they were primarily together for Japan, and then I guess the UK started being a good market again. But they were so big in Japan that their former lead singer Justin, I got him a record deal in Japan, and then that one goes on the list with Suburban Legends, where they left my name, I believe, out of the record.
Well, how is this happening? How are you people? You gotta get me a record deal in Japan, not me. Give Michael a record deal in Japan. Let's do that.
All of my contacts. So one of the last labels that I did multiple deals through, they just went out of business one day. This is the story I was told. They funded an Avril Lavigne clothing line, and they lost so much money on it. Whoever the business person went like, no more money for music. That was one label. The one that I got, CCRE, the one I got Suburban Legends signed, they just filed for bankruptcy in like 08, 09 out of nowhere. Another one, I pissed them off because I told them that something that was their fault was actually their fault. And then they stopped returning my emails. And then to spite me, one of the albums they signed from me didn't come out. Like they paid the advance and then they shelved it. I had this period where I was getting all these Japanese label deals for people, and then just like the worst luck. There's one band I got signed, and then the guitarist went to jail for maybe courting a minor.
The band shall go nameless. The band shall go nameless. But wait a minute, why are you doing all these things? Like, it's not like you're managing these bands or anything like that. Why were you scoring these deals? What's going on?
This is like 15 to 20 years ago. I was going there a lot, and I basically made some inroads with those labels, and they were eager for indie bands because if they looked like a band that was huge, but they could get them for a fraction of the cost, then they basically go, okay, so it's a cheap record, and then we have the power to make them stars and basically tell them what to do. And so a lot of that was going on. And at the same time, I knew some American or British bands who like used to be a big deal, and then they got dropped. And then they were kind of thinking, oh man, we'd kill to have a Japanese record deal. And I'd go, are you cool with like a $1,000 advance? I'm like, yeah, totally. And so there were some of those deals too. The one that the label stopped talking to me because I told them what was their fault, that was over a Nerf herder deal that I made happen.
Do you know, riddle me this, are you finding now, I saw this, we were in Brazil, my gosh, so was that a year ago? It's close to a year. Anyway,
with face-to-face?
What I found was going on in Brazil is something that I do believe is going on in Japan now, that they no longer want the import, right? They're like, no, we want our own bands from our region, you know what I mean? So
yes,
yeah, so it's that kind of way, kind of a lot of places now. Yeah,
I find that's the case, and on top of that, you also find that the hits here were not the hits overseas. Yeah, like, right. Good luck explaining Tom Petty to people in most of the world. That wasn't the biggest thing ever, and then you find out that certain artists that to hear were like. How big was UB40 everywhere in the world but the US? And still is.
Yeah.
And like Simple Minds was like a 1 or 2 hit band here. And then overseas, like Simple Minds never died, you know?
It's like Bryan Adams too, whom I love. Yeah. Is like, bam, it's like you're all, whoa, wait a minute. You know, it's like, oh, wait, 5 sold out nights at O2, blah, blah, blah. And then Spain and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, it is a bigger world, you know, and that's cool.
Oh, to like add a weird anecdote to that, a year and a half ago, the wife and I went to Chile for, you know, like basically a week vacation, and I got us some free tickets using the US connections. So one night I saw Sebastian Bach with Mr. Big, and the other night I saw Mark Farner of Grand Funk Railroad. The audience did not lose their minds over We're an American Band by Mark Farner. Think about that. Why would they be all about We're an American Band?
Yeah, right. 100%.
But then he played this obscure song from the 80s I never heard of, and it blew the roof off the place. And you go, oh, the hits were different everywhere.
I get, so I'm, you know, I never had that type of thing where it was like, you know, where there was international thing on a label where they're all, hey, you're going to go with whatever, blah, 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 but you should go with this here. Never had that happen, but it makes sense, you know? But like, yeah. So like, Cuts Like a Knife in Heaven, big all over the world for Bryan Adams still, I would imagine. I don't know what it, you know?
I think so. And what I'd heard about Bryan Adams, who, by the way, I think has one of the coolest singing voices ever, nothing but respect for me, wrote Kiss songs and all that. What isn't the deal with Bryan Adams? Like, he was kind of a nobody in the States from maybe like 85 till Robin Hood. In other words, he was like a has-been here, but he was still killing it overseas.
I wouldn't say that, because even before Cuts Like a Knife is, oh darn, what's on that first record? There's the
Run to You and
no, that's later. I think that's Cut Like a Knife, but no, the record before that, shit, maybe it covers Straight from the Heart and all that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. But the thing with that guy is just those, maybe like you said, Tom Petty might not latch throughout the things, but Bryan Adams is, the verses, the melodies are simple enough, and the choruses are universal enough. I don't know, man. It's a trip.
That's part of it. I think the larger part of it is whether or not you hit the key markets on your way up. So, for example, if you were like the American A&R signing and you weren't the priority of like the London office, and like you didn't go for your loss leader money losing tour on that territory, or you were signed by the wrong person, or you had the wrong product manager in that territory, you got that. Versus if you're like Gino Vanelli. Okay, I posted this interview. There's certain people I post an interview with, and they still get comments all the time. Like Robbie Neville.
C'est la vie.
C'est la vie. But like overseas, I don't think he ever lost his cool. I think he's like an all-time top guy in maybe the Philippines or something.
No shit. Makes sense. But I mean, God, isn't that rad? Like if you could score a market and like still be able to release, be artistic, and go work. That's fantastic. It's what I tell my daughter. It's like, whatever you think it is, there's only like that 1% of whatever those people who it is exactly what they thought it was going to be. Everything else is not going to be that. But that is the coolest shit in the world. Are meeting people, being able to have relationships where you can still collaborate with people after all these damn years, and to be able to work in some capacity, like a cult work, but to still be able to be like there in some capacity is fucking rad. And so it's like but how do you tell like a young person like, you might not ever be on the radio. How the fuck do you tell somebody, or why would you? It's sort of like, go for it, man. Let's see. Go get that shit.
Well, we need to talk to Ed from Zebrahead to see how he would do things.
Oh, good. I tried to write a song for them. They just like, it's not working, bud.
Well, I think it's an interesting thing that, summing up what we've been talking about the last couple of minutes, that some of these artists have these cool top careers in other countries, and then it's way off the radar in their home country. So average person is going like, oh man, they must be on the unemployment line. Oh, whatever happened to, like, do you know a person from
the Brazilian dude? Remember that one?
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic. To your point, and interrupting you.
Well, I've interrupted you a trillion times. So you have the right to do as much as you need. But like my friend Rachel Yamagata, she had a couple albums on RCA, one on Warner, and she kills it in Asia. And I think the average person go, whatever happened to? And then you look at the festivals she's doing in Asia, and she's killing it. And makes you wonder how many, if we were to look at the top 100 charts of like different countries, do we not know half of the American and Canadian artists that are on them?
Charts are like that for me anyways. You know what I mean? I was like, wait a minute, what? Whatever. I think this might even branch you to another whole thing, but I just saw that thing that I guess they said it was the #1 country song, this AI generated song or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm unaware, because I used to follow charts when I thought I was going to be on the charts. And I don't follow the charts anymore. Like,
that's a song lyric to hold on to.
There you go. But I mean, but like even way back in the day, I know what it was a few months ago or something. I was it was 1992 or something, and I was like, "Oh, what were the number one songs on there? And this is like a crazy one. It's 1992. What do you think the biggest songs on the charts are?
Is it everything about you by Ugly Kid Joe?
No, Brian. But I thought you were saying Everything I Do or whatever. But I think Bryan Adams is in the top.
That's
20.
like 91, 92. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like 3 songs. It's the one with the most artists on there, or with the most songs. Gosh darn it.
Bodyguard soundtrack?
Nope. It's CC and the Music Factor. I think that 3 and 92. I don't even know why that came up, or maybe someone said it and you're all, nah. Like you're on your feet in the morning, you're all, that's not true, and you're all, holy shit, true, or whatever. But yeah. So the charts, I just haven't really followed that. So it is really weird. Like if you go like, oh, maybe I got to do it. Go on Billboard and go like, and then it's so many different genres too. If I go top 10 country, I might stand a chance of knowing what's there more than pop. But like rock, what is a rock? Or what are the charts now? Is it rock alternative? What do we got here on charts?
You got a few. You got your active rock. Specialty rock, I don't think matters.
What's specialty rock? What's this?
That I don't know. You got your AAA, which I think is your singer-songwriter or your old people chart. Your AAA form, like I guess they'd put Brandy Carlisle on AAA. For lack of a better term, or the Silver Sun Pickups, even though that's like hard rock, they'd somehow be AAA. I don't know.
So weird, because I would think almost AAA would almost automatically be retro or throwbacky because of older people. But if Brandy Carlisle is catching older people, which she should, that's fantastic. So so there's that genre. Okay, what do we got?
Active rock is like the new metal, and the Papa Roach and probably Buck Cherry will wind up on the active rock, even though they're really not active rock.
Would you say like active rock is like Midwestern, like not the coast? It's like songs that still have meaning, but like people on the coasts would say that's not cool. I don't want to be that, or whatever.
Well, let me back that up a little bit, because you take a band like Shinedown. And me, like I've interviewed a few of the guys from Shinedown. They're all nice guys. You would love those guys. They like the same bands you do, but their stuff like doesn't play in our markets. If you look at their tours, it's like arenas, and then it skips LA and New York City. Fine. But they broke the Foo Fighters record for number one rock singles, I think, on this last thing. And I think the average person around here would go, who's Shinedown? And you go, but they've had more number one radio singles than anyone.
See, there you go. Charts and those kind of things. And it does translate to live. You're saying like if I Kansas City, Missouri or whatever, those guys,
Jacksonville, Kansas City, Indianapolis.
I love that though. You know what I mean? Because it still is like, and a song is a song is a song, and you can always draw like, well, how is it really that different? It's a verse, chorus, pre-chorus, whatever the fuck it is. But I still do love that there are regions where you can go work that, like what Jimmy's doing with the project. He's like, you know what? He's going after radio stations and almost like he's a label and doing things in, I'm going to say this, tertiary markets, whatever you want to call, but we'll just call that like, places where real people live. Yeah. Kind of vibe. And it's like, and he's doing that. And there's like those stations we're going to add you on this. We're going to try it on our local thing, and we're going to add you. And I love that there's still hope for something like that to happen. I think it's genius that he's even trying it, to tell you the truth.
So that's one way of doing it. Then the other way is like the more active rock. And then the other way, I have a friend who's like filled in a couple of gigs in the band The Strokes. Like he plays guitar when they need a fill in. Okay. a handful of times, and it looks like the Strokes only do like 3 gigs a year, and they're to 90,000 people, and you can imagine the money in there. And so I can't imagine that there's 20 of those opportunities, but you can imagine the 3 to 5 of them just pay for so much that it works out just fine. So maybe the other answer is your daughter just being so big that she goes, I'm only playing 4 gigs this year. You guys all have to bid. And I'm only going to do Vegas, Austin, and Brooklyn, and that's it. The rest of you don't get me.
That kid's biggest ambition in all of this is being able to travel for work. Her biggest ambition is to go and just play. And I'm like, oh, well, you could just do that. Just grab acoustic guitar and go do that. She's all, she went from acoustic player. Now she's all, I think it'll be way funner with the band. Yeah, I want to do it with the band. I'm all like, yeah, it's a little rougher, or whatever. But so people who just, because it really is, imagine that you're a younger kid and part of it, and you're all like, yeah, of course you have ambitions of having people like your music and, interject your music in their life. But it's also like, man, if I have a chance to travel and play music, that's what I want to do. And I'm all, that's pretty fucking cool. Cause she did the work. She's, she always played. She's a little later in life to the singer, songwriter, producer, all that shit now. But she did the work, went to the 4-year, got the bachelor's, could go get the master's. She said, I'm suspending this. I can work in a field right now, but I really want to do this. And I'm all, wow, as a father, you're all, that's the coolest shit I ever seen. I wish I would have done that. That's killer, It's like real life waits. It's there, whatever. You did the work. It's like, go for it. Go see this world. And especially if you can get out of the United States, go see the world. You can get a lot of perspective, and it's really unique in the way that it shouldn't be unique, that you've been outside the United States and embedded with people in their region is the best education and the best experience you're ever going to have in your life.
So she has to, what I'm hearing, she has to pick a country where she's going to be the American superstar. So is it going to be Portugal? Is it going to be, which country is it that she's going to, Argentina?
I think she'll be okay if she does like Portugal, Spain, France, all that. Cause she understands the Latin language is pretty good, right? She did the French for 4 years and all that. So she can get around with any Latin base. Maybe that's the thing, but her songs have no Latin flair.
Which is actually why I think it'll work, because the people want what they can't get in their everyday life. So, for example, if you go to Italy, it's not like you as the top pasta maker in the U.S. should go to Italy to sell it. You should sell it in the place they don't have pasta.
I like how you think. This is why I like our conversations. You might want to go make Mexican food in Italy. That's the move.
That could work. So if you think about her music, like if she did a Tom Petty covers album, nobody's going to know that they're covers.
Yeah. That's so
she could just take the best songs ever done, mix them with hers a little bit. She could do the preemptive clearance, like when you do the copyright infringement and then you offer half the publishing outright. Yeah. So it says Hill/Petty/Campbell. And
I don't know if you can pull that one up, but that's great. I'm going to use you on the lawyer on that one.
Okay. Okay. What if she does the Traveling Wilburys album?
That might be easy. Yeah, that'll be easier. Because there's not just one or two. It's going to be all 4 of them cats on there plus 5 because Lynn will be on there. Yeah, that'll be easy.
That's one last thing I want to pick your brain out before I let you go. So the other day, a couple days ago, a guy was riding by me on a bike here in Long Beach, New York, and he was listening to, I think, Handle with Care by the Wilburys. I love the Traveling Wilburys. And then I was trying to think about how you would explain the Traveling Wilburys to anyone under 30 and not make yourself look horrifyingly old. Is there any way you could possibly explain the Traveling Wilburys in an appealing way to a young person?
Yeah. You like Boy Genius?
That's what you do?
Well, right. You got to kind of draw a parallel, I think, without dating yourself. So you like Boy Genius? You know, dude, this is this era's Boy Genius. I think you're going to dig it. And then they're just like, oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, and then, but I also, here's another one too, to give the kids credit. I see more, I'll call it cyclicism.
Okay.
These kids are actually like, these kids are actually going back as far or further than we did in some of their influences. Like these kids now, or at least around this house anyways, and they go back and they know Tom Petty is or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Dude, that would be like us going back and being like, oh yeah, that was Chipper Cunningham was
Al Jolson was great, wasn't he?
Yeah, Chipper Cunningham was the hand clapper in Benny Goodman's band, whatever that. But you know what I mean? It's like these kids, right? So it's like credit where credit's due, and they really are kind of, and maybe because it's so available, and maybe the downfall is also the savior, and the fact that you can go to the streamers and listen to all these things very instantaneously, which is pretty fucking cool for these kids. It doesn't sound as good as we heard it on an album or even in an AFF or digital format, but it is cool. And I do got to give these kids credit. I can have conversations with them, and then but then I'm at fault because now I'm not keeping up with what's rad kind of vibe.
But if you say the Traveling Wilburys were the greatest band, and they go, cool, so can I see live footage of them? And you'd have to go, well, they never played live. Well, what about, and they're like, well, Roy Orbison died before the album came out.
I got a video on it, and then we also have like a video footage insert. So there you go. There they are right there. That's fantastic.
Yeah. But I look forward to your daughter covering the Wilburys and taking that to Portugal.
This idea, Michael, if you're watching, which you're probably not, because I want to see you, Dad. I hate the way you talk.
But best way to follow her music, is it at Michael Hill?
Yeah, she's over on the Spotify, Mykele. Mom went with that spelling. And then the project's got stuff coming out. The Good Man Down stuff's still up there to listen to. That shit's all free. That's all streaming. And that'll be fun to play those songs again. That's going to be a hoot.
And you are at D Nathan Hill?
I guess so on the Instagram. And then we have the California Sunsets. There's so much to do. California Sunsets made a record. I'm going to throw out Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Me and Nathan did a version of that. Well, I'll throw that up here. It should come out Thanksgiving or whatever. We're just having fun, right? It's so much easier when it's not your aspiration anymore. I'm just having fun hanging out with a bunch of musicians now,
And 3 nights at the Stanley Hotel with Face to Face, so more to come from Face to Face.
Yeah, we're doing all that. This is why I didn't know why you want me to come on a podcast. I don't really know what it is I'm doing. But dude, Butch Walker's in Train now? What's going on with that? Is that real? Do you see this? Is this a verified thing?
It is verified. What I don't know about, because I know the guy that he replaced, and I reached out to him over text a day or two ago to see, like, are you okay? Did you quit? Did you get canned? I don't know what happened. Because 1 minute he's in the band, and the next minute Butch Walker's filling in. The next minute Butch Walker's announced and putting the Marvelous 3 on hold. So I don't know.
I didn't know he put M3 on hold. Crazy.
I think M3 was doing holiday stuff the last few years. Okay. And then the insider fans were going, hey, see you next year at the holidays. And he went, we can't do it. And I can't tell you why, but we're not doing it. But things are fine.
Oh, darn.
And
I love that he's playing with his friends again. That's cool.
And the bassist son plays second guitar in it. So it's a cool family next generation thing.
I just love everything about that. I kind of feel like I am obviously not or ever going to be something right like that, but I've taken a lot of notes from Butch over the years, and I love the decisions that he's made have just been from the heart, even the move from here to there and whoever moves from there to there. I just love the decisions the guy makes for the organic reasons. It's fucking cool,
I'm what blows my mind about the train thing is like how he's able to go from I'm the focal point to I'm not the focal point in this band.
Well, he's never not gonna be, because
Well,
that's just something that's bred into that young man. That is, if he's on a stage, you're just shit is happening, and it's awesome. And so, it's like that thing. But I also think it's so fun as a guy who is sometimes pretending to be a singer, and a guy who loves just being a background singer and playing guitar and just kind of having real damn fun with that. I can see why that is very appealing. And they're all, they're all amongst friends in management and otherwise. So I could see how that would make sense.
yes, Butch does have the same manager all these years as Train, Jonathan and Crush, who I'm going to guess that you're 1 degree removed from.
Oh, I know Jonathan. I was a great big fan of his band Candy. And, and then, oh God, what the hell was Kill? God damn it. And then Damn Yankees, when I was with Michael Lay and that thing, we played with not Gravity Kills. Well, Gravity Kills. God damn it. But John's band at that point, and he's always just was a super, super sweetheart. Great big fan. He's a songwriter himself. He's great.
I did not make even that small world thing. An artist I used to help out or manage, Mike Viola, he briefly subbed in Candy when Kim Fowley got him a record deal as a teenager.
Yeah.
I don't know if that name rings a bell, but he wrote a lot of the songs and get him the Greek, and he produces a lot of people's records.
Who, Kim Fowley?
Mike Viola.
Oh, okay. I think we talked about Mike with the second act. We got to do this show, dude. This is a great show for Axis or just anywhere, right? Because all these cats, this is what we should be talking about this all the time, dude. When we talked about that and that thing came up, I think that is such a great idea for a show to do a retrospective with where they're at now, because there are so many people, right? That first deal didn't work out. This is for my second act. I think that's your title. I think that is the sweetest idea, dude. I love it.
For a lot of these people, it might be the third or fourth act, but the bottom line, focus and praise back on Dennis Hill.
Yeah.
You're still doing it. Yeah. You're still doing it in a great way. You still have a variety of projects going. We know where to follow you on the socials. We'll link all that in the copy as well. And hey, thank you for being an original, fun voice, as opposed to one of those people going, yeah, music used to be good.
Dude, come on. It was good before you got there. It'll be good when you're gone. That's it. Just jump in and have fucking fun. It's so fun, man. It's so much fun if someone says, hey, you add a guitar part, keyboard part, bass part, whatever you want to. Could you add something? They don't really ask for vocals anymore, and I don't blame them.
Well, thanks to anyone still watching.
I didn't know why you wanted me on here, but that was fun.
It is, and part 2 with Dennis Hill in the future, we shall see. But thanks to all watching, and we'll catch you on the next one of these, whether it's about the second act, the third act, or the fourth act.
Or our television show.
Or a television show.
Yeah,
In stream.
Paltrocast.